What's good, beautiful people? It's your girl Tay. I'm here yet again with another update video. So today, as always, definitely make sure you smash that like button, comment down below, subscribe, plus push your post notification bell button so that when anytime I upload a video, you will be notified. So I don't have my baby with me today. At least you guys don't see him, but I'm looking at him. He's right here sleeping peacefully, hopefully, through this whole video, okay? So we got a lot of things that I want to talk about today. I wanted to continue on with the IRS stimulus and refund questions. So I did manage to go through the comments of my last video and pick out the most recent questions that you guys left for me, but I'm going to get to that at the end of the video because there was just so much other information that I felt that I needed to give to you guys. So first things first, in California, it seems that we've got some rental assistance that is coming. Now, you guys know that the eviction moratorium is scheduled to expire at the end of this month. I have not seen any information that suggests that it is going to be extended past March 31st of 2021, okay? It says to help Californians set up a program that uses federal funds from the December stimulus law. The state program is designed to wipe away back rent accumulated by low-income tenants while providing property owners most of the money that tenants, hold up. We having some technical difficulties. Let me try that again. The state program is designed to wipe away back rent accumulated by low-income tenants while providing property owners most of the money those tenants owe. The application systems for tenants and landlords went live on Monday, this past Monday. Okay, today is Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Within the first 24 hours, more than 20,000 applications were started. Okay, so in California, we've got some rental assistance that is going up. I believe that you are supposed to check the California website, so ca.gov, and it will give you some information as to how to apply for the rental assistance. Okay. A lot rides on the program rolling out successfully. The growing debt burden tenants are incurring not only threatens to force them from their homes, but also could damage their credit and hurt their ability to find new housing. I mean, I think that's pretty common, common sense. Everybody knows that if you get evicted from your household or whatever, anything like that, it goes on your credit report. So they're trying to make sure not only that they can cut down the amount of people that will actually be out on the streets homeless because of the pandemic, but they also want to try to help the economy from going even further downhill by people accumulating so much debt and bad, I guess you could say, bad reports on their credit, okay? Who is eligible for the help? To qualify, tenants must have experienced a pandemic-related financial setback. I love how they say that. We're in a pandemic. Everybody is experiencing some type of pandemic-related setback, whether it's financial, emotional, mental, whatever. Everybody is experiencing something in regards to the pandemic right now, okay? Tenants must also be low income, which is defined as having a household income at or below 80% of the median income for an area, often a county. Okay, low-income tenants with pandemic hardships could see all of the rent debt they incurred from April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021 wiped away. For that to happen, a landlord must agree to forgive 20% of the debt. If the landlord does so, the state program pays the property owner the remaining 80%. If a landlord does not forgive the 20%, low-income tenants can receive funds to pay 25% of their rent for that period. Under state rules, landlords can't evict tenants for unpaid rent as long as the tenant pays by June 30th. 25% of what they owe from September 2020 to June 2021. Okay. Under the rent relief program, tenants can get funds that will pay for 25% of their future rent. Utility relief is also available. So I encourage you guys to also check HEAP, I believe it is, HEAP, to see if there is any extra assistance that you can get for your utility assistance, okay? Undocumented immigrants are eligible for all the relief, and people will not be asked about their citizenship status. Okay, so how do you apply? Like I said, go to the state's website, so california.gov, and look up rental assistance. But you can also call 833-430-2122. So again, that's 833-430-2122, okay? If you live in the cities of Los Angeles or Long Beach, your application will be handled locally rather than by the state, okay? Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. The next bit of information, we've got some additional $1,000 stimulus checks going out in Florida, okay? Tallahassee, Florida. Florida hasn't yet received its chunk of cash from the federal pandemic stimulus bill that recently passed. But Governor Ron DeSantis already has ideas on how to spend the money. He expects the Sunshine State will receive between $9 billion and $10 billion from the American Rescue Plan, which he said is less than he would have liked, but he still has great plans for this money. The state is still waiting on federal guidelines that will likely stipulate how the money is spent. It's also unknown when and how the money will be distributed. With potential limitations in mind, DeSantis outlined how he'd like to spend $4.1 billion from the American Rescue Plan. He said the remaining $6 billion or so will be left up to the legislative discretion. Below is a list of measures, and I'm going to go over those measures for you. Okay, so $208.4 million to provide first responders with $1,000 bonuses. So he says, we know that the pandemic put an awful lot of strain on our first responders, our EMTs, sworn law enforcement, firefighters, and so we believe that we should recognize their sacrifice over the last year. So his first effort is to give an extra $1,000 to first responders. So that's an extra $1,000 stimulus for those of you who are stressed, who are law enforcement, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, first responders of any sort. I believe that they should include grocery store workers, people who have been working through the pandemic, because we know that there has been a strain put on grocery store workers. It's just been a lot from the beginning to the pandemic when everything was going out of stock. Toilet tissue, y'all know what I'm talking about, when there was nothing in the store and these grocery store workers had to still keep a smile on their face, try to deliver great customer service, keep telling people that they don't know when these items are going to be back in stock, dealing with angry customers, and still dealing with angry customers to this day, people who don't want to wear masks. I mean, it's just a mess. I definitely feel like they should be included in the first responders. They may not be out there saving lives in the same way that a firefighter or a police officer are, but they are still providing a service to the community that I think should be noticed, okay? Now, outside of that, let's get back into what's going on with the IRS. Let's talk about what the IRS is saying actually on their website when it comes to the 2021 stimulus payments, okay? So it says the first batch of payments was sent by direct deposits, which some recipients started receiving as early as March 12th. We already know that. There were a lot of people over the past weekend that received the stimulus payments as early as that Friday after it was signed into law by President Joe Biden the Thursday before, okay? So if you have either one of these statuses showing up when you check the Get My Payment tool, this is on the actual IRS website. So I wanted to give you guys this information, although it's on here for you guys to see for yourself. Okay, so you'll get one of two statuses. A payment has been processed, a payment date is available, a payment date is available, and a payment date is sent either by direct deposit or mail. So that's for those of you who've already received your payment information via the Get My Payment tool. The second status on there is you're eligible, but a payment has not been processed and a payment date is not yet available. So it also states that it will not show you the amount of your 2021 economic impact payments. So 9 times out of 10, you won't know how much you're going to get until you get either your check or your economic impact payment card in the mail, or unless you see the pending deposit in your account, okay? But those are the first two statuses. Now, under that, it says payment status not available. That means they haven't yet processed your payment or you're not eligible for the payment. And let me say that part again, because as soon as people read that their payment status is not available, they automatically start freaking out. Just because your payment status is not available does not mean that you're not receiving a stimulus check. It means that they have not. It's a possibility they have not processed your payment or you're not eligible. So it's either or. And considering everything that we already know what's going on with the Internal Revenue Service, they are severely behind for several reasons that we don't need to constantly repeat. It's a really, really, really big possibility that 9 times out of 10, they just haven't gotten around to processing your stimulus payment yet, as they are still processing stimulus payments from the other batch, and they still are working on 2019 and now 2020 tax returns, okay? So it says the first and second economic impact payments no longer appear in Get My Payment. But if you need information regarding those payments, then you are to view or create your account online and check your mail for IRS notices 1444 and 144-B. Okay. If you didn't get the first or second payments, your stimulus payments, then you would need to claim them on your 2020 taxes as a 2020 recovery rebate credit Okay, so you have to file your 2020 tax return even if you are not required to file. This is on the IRS website, okay? The third payment will not be used to calculate the 2020 recovery rebate credit, okay? So whatever you get for your third payment is not going to be used to calculate whatever your third check is going to be, all right? Now, that was actually on the IRS website. Then there was some actual extra information. I don't know how relevant it is, but some separate information that was in an article regarding the stimulus payments. A lot of people are just concerned about the payment date, again, stating that the payment status is not available. All I can say is that so many stimulus payments were released today as of the 17th. Some of that has to do with the IRS, and the other part of that has to do with the bank. There were 9 banking and credit union groups issued a statement either this Tuesday or last Tuesday. I believe it was this Tuesday, yesterday, to further explain that funds coming from the IRS won't be available to them until March 17th, which is today. So that means that if you were looking into your credit or banking account, whatever it is, your credit union account or your regular checking or banking account, then that means that that would not have been available, even though you're seeing it pending. And I know that it's driving you crazy because you want the funds to release, okay? But you have to wait. If it's not available until the 17th for them, then they can't make it available until the 17th for you. Now, I know that's a little frustrating. I know that generally with larger banks, we expect for them to release funds rather quickly because they're larger banks. But it seems like this time around, from what I've seen, a lot of like prepaid cards, rush cards, green dot cards, MetaBank cards, those types of cards, prepaid cards that you can buy at your local retailer store like Walmart or CVS or things like that, release the funds 2 days earlier versus the larger banks were only able to release the funds on the effective date. So if you check the Get My Payments tool and it tells you, for example, that your stimulus payment is going to be available on the 22nd, then that means that 9 times out of 10, you may see a pending deposit. Sometimes you may not, though, but you will not be able to access those funds most likely until the 22nd for most banking institutions, okay? Now, jumping back into you guys' questions, we're going to get into the Q&A portion of this video. So, how can I update my direct deposit information? The only way that you can update your direct deposit information as of now is for you to file your 2020 tax return. Last year, they did make it possible for you to get on the Get My Payment tool prior to that and update your information. However, they have not done that this time around. As far as I know from the IRS website, they don't even want you calling the Internal Revenue Service to ask them how to update your information. The only way that you can do that is to file your 2020 tax return. Okay, if taxes for 2020 are still processing, will I get a stimulus? Yes. There are several people whose tax returns are still processing. We will provide a date as soon as it's available phase, but they have already received their stimulus payments, okay? If I did not file 2020 taxes or they are still processing, plus did not file 2019 taxes and was claimed as a dependent in 2019, what happens to the stimulus? So there's a lot of moving parts going on in this question right here. So let me try to break it down. So you did not file your 2019, or it's a possibility that you did, but they're still processing. You did not file for 2019, and in 2019 you were claimed. Now, if you did not file 2020 taxes and you were claimed in 2019 by somebody else, then 9 times out of 10, they're going to get the stimulus payment for you. You are not going to get it because you don't have a tax return on file. Now, if you did file your 2020 process, unfortunately, if it's still processing, there's no way to know if they're going to be able to access that information in order for them to have you now claiming yourself, being responsible for yourself to provide you with the stimulus payment for tax year 2020. There's no way to know. I know that there are some people who have their tax return for 2020 that's still in processing. However, when it comes to the stimulus payment, their information that was in the 2020 tax return, they were able to get access for that and direct deposit their stimulus check into that bank account that was updated. There are some people, however, who have their 2020 tax return still processing, and for whatever the reason, their information went to whatever, their stimulus check went to whatever bank account or whatever address was on file for their 2019 return. There's no way to decipher how it's going to go right now. It's kind of up in the air. I know it's frustrating. It doesn't really give you a whole lot to go off of, but when it comes to that, all I can say for sure is that if you were claimed by somebody in 2019 and you have not filed your 2020, then it's more than likely that the person who claimed you is going to receive a stimulus check for you. You will not receive a stimulus check for yourself, okay? Got first stimulus, did not receive the second. Filed 2020 taxes with updated bank info. Which bank will I receive the stimulus? So same thing that I was just saying for the previous question. There's no way to know. Some people's information has updated enough to where the stimulus department was able to, and I don't even know if the stimulus department, to be perfectly honest, is processing those payments. To be perfectly honest, I believe that the stimulus department in the Internal Revenue Service is just customer service. I believe that they're available to answer any questions that you may have in a general sense. Because when you actually call in and you speak to someone in that department, they will go through this speech that takes like 5-10 minutes for them to tell you not to give them your social security number, that they can't look up your tax return for any year. They don't have any access to any of that information. So all they can do is pretty much provide the same information to you guys that I'm providing for you right now. Basically information that they have been given, a possible date as to when the next or whenever they're going to be processing the payments. But other than that, they can't give you anything that's specific to you, okay? So when it comes to this, it's either or. I would just continue to check the Get My Payment tool. I know for myself, I'm being transparent with you guys. My tax return, for those of you who did ask, and this is a little bit off the subject, but for those of you who did ask, it took them 28 days from the day that I actually filed my taxes to receive an update on my tax return. Now, when it comes to my stimulus, I was concerned for this very same reason, because my 2020 tax return was still processing. Were they going to now use the updated information for my 2020 returns or the information for my 2019 returns? When I checked the Get My Payment tool, they did update to the information from my 2020 tax return. However, again, I have seen people have stated they have used their information from their 2019. So you're just going to have to continue to check the Get My Payment portal, okay? Where's my refund status? Okay, so someone's asking me, where's my refund status change? Yeah, my where's my refund status change? It took 28 days from the day that I actually filed and was accepted by the IRS, okay? I checked the IRS web and it says my return should have been deposited on the 3rd of last month, but no money has showed up in my account. So if I'm reading that correctly, if you type that correctly, last month was February the 3rd, the IRS wasn't open. So I'm not seeing how that's possible. I think you may have misread some information there. They didn't open up the IRS until February 12th, and the 3rd of last month is February 3rd. So they weren't even open at that time. Unless you're talking about 2019, then I would suggest that you call in and speak to an IRS representative to see what's going on. But if this is in regards to 2020, then I think the dates may be off, because like I said, they weren't even open February 3rd. What are the current child tax credit? Okay, so for the current year, 2020, I believe that they're still going off of the $2,000 earned income tax credit. Now, I do know that they're supposed to be starting these payments in July, which I'm talking about, and I'm going to continue to update you guys on for the child tax credits for next year's tax return. And that is $3,600 for children under 6, and then $3,000 for children 6 to 17. Those are the current child tax credit, but you won't see those benefits until you file your taxes next year. So that is not for the 2020 tax return. That is for the 2021 tax return that you will file in 2022. And finally, garnishment. So there was quite a bit of information going around about garnishments. Everybody has been asking about the garnishments and how that's going to work. As far as I know from the IRS, they have decided not to garnish people's stimulus checks for federal taxes that may be owed, okay? But one thing that they cannot shield you from is any private debts. Now, I did have a little bit of extra information. I'm not exactly sure how relevant or how much this is going to help you guys, but I did want to give you a little bit of information regarding that. I also know that Governor Hogan has issued an emergency order prohibiting garnishments of the new federal stimulus payments. I believe this is in Maryland, but it says Governor Larry Hogan issued an emergency order prohibiting garnishments of the federal stimulus payments provided under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. So I definitely think that is good. Hogan's order provides the American Rescue Plan Act economic impact payments are exempt from and shall not be subject to garnishments, and all financial institutions are ordered to consider these payments as protected and cannot be subject to a court-ordered garnishments. For the most part, and that's the key word, I believe that the garnishments, there has to be a court order. I believe. Don't 100% quote me on it, and if there's anybody that has the extra information regarding that, definitely leave it in the comment section below. But as far as I know, this is more or less credit card debt, medical bills, things of that nature, that there has been a court order saying that this person can now come after you. We're not talking about someone from JCPenney's saying that you owe money, but they haven't gone through it. You know, some companies just send you to a collection agency and then that's just the end. Keep in mind, you guys, again, I'm going to continue to say I'm not a financial advisor, CPA, tax preparer, or anything. So I'm, again, giving you information based off of my experience and things that I may have read, information that is available for all public eyes, okay? But as far as I know, for garnishments, there has to be a court order stating that they can garnish your stimulus check, paycheck, or whatever it is that they're coming after. But on that note, you guys, that is all I have. Continue to leave your questions down below in the comment section. You guys know that I will get to them as soon as I can. Try to answer them as best as I can. Definitely remember to live, love, and elevate. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.